even if a person who has nothing to do with art, or let's say many people say, wow, I like this precision, or I like this handcraft which is involved. And this is a door. So this is the first fascination somebody could have. And then he kind of opens his eyes, and then he could get deeper. But this first thing, the weaving, the woodwork, transports so much quality itself, besides any meaning, besides any idea. Just the pure making is already the start of a communication with the audience, with somebody. Because I'm coming from this printership, from this making, I'm an artisan, if you want to, and entered the world of art. So it's still very much with me, this precision and this love to traditions. And if you think to have a contemporary art piece which involves traditional processes, then you get a link. And then you follow a thread which is very old, which comes from thousands of years of developing handcraft. So let's say, you can say this is the end of a long chain of handcraft development, and it finally enters the artistic world. As I heard about the call and the title Transhumances, which has its meaning in the French language, but as it comes to me, it had a very different impression. So it opened up the idea of a transhuman person, and I started to think about what is a transhuman person, and it becomes so interesting that I decided to apply or to develop this idea. I found out that two aspects are very important for this new species of transhuman people. One aspect is that they have let's say a psychological side, a spiritual side. They have a understanding which is kind of their church, their home, their dome. So I was building these structures very lightly. You can look through. They're almost transparent. They are representing these inner qualities of a person, which makes them a transhuman person. And then I will have a stone wall. So the base of the piece will actually become a dry stone wall.
And be careful for the stone. The stone, yeah. Don't touch the stone. Don't forget.
This stone wall is the physical aspect of this people, or this idea, that says, all right, but you need a kind of a home. You need a house. You need some place where you kind of, if you want, belong to, or where are your roots from. So this stone wall represents this physical quality of these people. There will be 3 in different stages of appearance. So we will have a big one, which is just the first segment. And you have to imagine, I will build them up until 3 segments, something about 7 meters high. This will be the one in the background. There's a third one with 2 segments. So we will have all stages of a very young, a very old, and a midlife character. It's more a person who is at home in himself. And that's why I have the structures. These are representing the people or the person, the characters, because the ability to create the home feeling inside of you sets you free of the heaviness of the location you might be born in or born into socially. So if you have the ability to widen your contacts, to open your network, to open your impressions of what is all existing on this planet, if this gets raised, then you more and more lose this super need, I would call it, to have a house, to have a village you will stick in for your lifetime. So people, they, of course, I see this development, they travel more and more, they enjoy other cultures more and more, and this is the beginning of a transforming of a society into a transhuman society, let's say. If you create, or if you realize, because everybody has already this identity, it's just a question of realizing it and being in contact with your, who you are. Then there's building up an identity, and this identity is the basement of the house. And then you can develop your profession. And I would say this profession is then the walls of your house. And if you found your job you love to make, if you then enter a stage of that it fulfills you and gives you a sense of life, which is possible, then that's the roof of the house. The thing that pulls me out in the morning of the bed was making things. Making things without a purpose on the first view, but with a deeper and bigger purpose on the second view. And I always was interested in this second view, in this thing you can't see, in this energy or in this meaning or in this what resonates inside of you or in other people. That is not so clear, it's not so real, it's looking behind the things if you want to. Suddenly I had a place. I had a place in the world, in the society. I had an identity suddenly with an artist. And a big part of this identity was the freedom who goes with it. When you're ready to take the risk of being an artist, without security, without knowing how to get the money for the next half a year or something, if you take this risk, and this is quite something in a society where this is almost not existing anymore, where everything is kind of in a safe harbor, everything is planned, everything is in a routine. That's the base of economic processes, let's say. And then have the option to plan the days myself, to give me the freedom to stick on the things I'm fascinated on and I have to do. So this freedom was something. I thought, oh wow, yeah, this is a need. This is calling inside of me. And then if you have people involved, so very often I work in a team, have assistants or craftsmen, and then there's the social aspect also involved. So this feeling home idea, this cocoon idea, this that's my place where I want to be right now, this feeling.
I think we need another one here, somewhere here. Yeah.
And suddenly you create an energy for a limited time. You have a capsule, kind of, with your people, with your
Show
team.
me the piece. This
Ouais.
have to go bigger.
Ah oui, d'accord.
And you go through this 2-3 weeks and you make the piece. You seem to work on the same vision. You go forward, and this is just absolutely fulfilling. And this is also what's art about, I think. It's bringing something in the world which transforms, which is scary for the first view for many people, and they need their years and their time to get used to it.
Good job.
But then suddenly it did its job and changed people, or forced a development. It's not about changing, it's about development more.
If you see the background, if you see the mountains opening, and if you see the field, I realized at least that's the stage I want to play on. This is the space I need for the creation I did here. Because if you work in the theme of land art, you have to work with the landscape. The landscape becomes part of the piece, and also it becomes part of what it should tell. So at the end, it's I would call it a spiritual trail. It begins in the physical location where you're born, and it ends in the understanding that every human is a part of something much bigger.